نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا نكحتم المؤمنات ثم طلقتموهن من قبل أن تمسوهن فما لكم عليهن من عدة تعتدونها فمتعوهن وسرحوهن سراحا جميلا. Respectful friends, in the previous verses, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has been mentioning some of the virtues of Nabi Kareem sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. Ya ayyuhan nabiyyu inna arsalnaka shahidan wa mubashiran wa nadhira. And prior to that, various other verses were also revealed on the virtues of Nabi Kareem sallallahu ta'ala sallam. And in this surah, Allah Ta'ala had also mentioned with regards to nikah, and especially nikah with a person's foster child's ex-wife. Continuing with this, Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala in the following verses to come, Allah Ta'ala mentions again specifically with regards to the position of Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the virtues of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the form of marriage. And in between, Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala mentions a general ruling as nikah has been mentioned in the verses. In it, Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala says, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu idha nakahtumul mu'minati ثم طلقتموهن من قبل أن تمسوهن فما لكم عليهن من عدة تعتدونها. O you who have iman, ya الذين آمنوا إذا نكحتم المؤمنات, when you marry mu'min women, ثم طلقتموهن, and then divorce them, من قبل أن تمسوهن, before touching them. Touching them here means consuming the marriage. Then فَمَا لَكُمْ عَلَيْهِنَّ مِنْ عِدَّةٍ تَعْتَدُّونَهَا, there will be no waiting period incumbent upon them. فَمَتِّعُوهُنَّ وَسَرِّحُوهُنَّ سَرَاحًا جَمِيلًا. Allah Ta'ala says there is no iddat upon them which ta'tadunaha, which they have to count. Hence, فَمَتِّعُوهُنَّ, grant them a provision, gift, and part from them, sarahan jamila, in a most beautiful manner. In this verse, Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala mentions a few rulings. One is where Allah Ta'ala says, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu idha nakahtumul mu'minat, that when you marry the mu'minat, and again for the act of nikah, the word nikah itself to be used for marriage is indicated here because Allah Ta'ala is using the word here nakahtum. And with whom do you do nikah? Allah Ta'ala says al-mu'minat. Although the ruling here is not specific just for the mu'minat, it's for any of the Ahli Kitab that a man may get married to. But the fact that Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala here specifically mentions the mu'minat indicates and shows that for a mu'min man it is most preferable that he gets married to a mu'minat. Although Din and Shariat has given the allowance for a mu'min to get married to a Ahli Kitab, a woman from the Ahli Kitab. Not vice versa, but a male can get married to a woman from the Ahli Kitab. But the preference is nakahtumul mu'minat. doing nikah with a mu'minah. As there is always compatibility in this. If it is from the Ahl Kitab, then there is always going to be differences, especially when it comes to halal haram with regard to the fundamental in the form of food itself, of consuming halal haram with regards to the upbringing of children, the tarbiyah of children, that those children grow up as believers or from the Ahl Kitab. These issues always remain. Do they go to madrasa or not? Which religion do they learn? Do they go to both? Do they follow both? These, although Islamically and Dini wise, the child is a follower of Khairul Abawain, the better of the two parents, meaning the one that is a Muslim. But in modern times, it isn't so straightforward, where the wife will claim that she has right over the child and she'll put her claims forward in that, making it very difficult for the husband to be able to stamp down any authority with regards to such type of decisions. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions nakahtumul mu'minat. And then Allah ta'ala mentions summa talaqtumuhunna, and then you divorce them. Now here divorce takes place, Allah Ta'ala says, min qabli an tamassuhunna, before you touch them. Touching them here indicates towards consuming the marriage. When it comes to the fiqh ruling here, okay, Allah Ta'ala says, فَمَا لَكُمْ عَلَيْهِنَّ مِنْ عِدَّةٍ تَعْتَدُّونَهَا. In this case, there is no iddat for them. So the ruling here is that if a person marries, and if talaq takes place before the marriage has been consumed, and here with regards to antamassuhunna refers not just to the actual consuming of the marriage, consummating of the marriage, but it refers towards khalwat sahiha. Khalwat sahiha means seclusion. So whether it is literally consummating the marriage, or even if the husband and wife have had time in privacy, then too that marriage is regarded to be as one that has been consummated. Meaning on their own enough a bit of time where they have been in seclusion with one another. And that seclusion itself changes the ruling. Although they may not have consummated the nikah, but even that amount of time together changes the ruling. If that amount of time has been spent or the marriage has been consummated, then the ruling is different. Here Allah Ta'ala is saying that if it hasn't been consummated and in this way this khalwat sahiha has not taken place, then Allah Ta'ala says that فَمَا لَكُمْ عَلَيْهِنَّ مِنْ عِدَّةٍ تَعْتَدُّونَهَا. Then there will be no waiting period incumbent on them for separating with them. Meaning such a wife, the wife who has been divorced, meaning marriage takes place, but the husband and wife have not met with one another, and for whatever reason divorce takes place, talaq takes place, then there will be no iddat upon the wife. However, if they have met one another, they may not have lived with one another, or even if they just remain for a short period of time in seclusion, and then after that they separated and divorce took place, then too there will be iddat upon her. And the iddat for a woman who has been divorced is that of her 3 menstrual cycles. It's not a fixed 3 months. The fixed 3 months is for that woman who does not have who does not have a menstrual, she's reached that age, or she doesn't at all. Otherwise, for a woman who does, for her iddat is the 3 cycles, the 3 menstrual cycles, her 3 hays, is what her iddat is, her waiting period is. And this is something that she must abide by and something that she should carry out. The only time she is exempted is because this is a masala that many people do inquire about and people have misconception about. That they assume that the fact that the husband and wife have not been living with one another for a period of time, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, or even a couple of years, and then divorce takes place, so they think that there is no iddat now upon them because they haven't been living with one another for quite a long period of time. The ruling is that because the marriage has been consummated as it is, and that khalwat has taken place, then no matter when the divorce takes place, she still has to do the iddat. Irrelevant of whether logically there is a need for it or not, the ruling there is that she needs to do iddat. So because of it being the command from the Qur'an itself, there is no way around it. So the only time she is exempted is that if marriage takes place and no meeting has taken place between the husband and wife, and then she has been divorced, then only will there be no iddat upon her. Otherwise she still needs to do the iddat, even though they have not been living together. And the fact that they may not have been living together for over 4 months, that does not by default nullify the nikah either, which is another misconception that people have, that because they have not been living together for a period of time, then that means the nikah has not taken place, or they have not been living as husband and wife. Nikah breaks. No, there is no such thing. Ila is something totally different. That is a totally different ruling. Whereas here, just the fact that they are not living together or they are not living as husband and wife does not mean that the nikah is broken until the husband does not give the actual talaq itself. The purpose of iddat is istibra'ur rahm. And the purpose of iddat is also for the betterment with regards to the lineage of the child. Because if a husband divorces his wife, or also in the case of where the husband has passed away, the ruling with regards to a mutawaffa anha zawjaha, meaning that woman who becomes a widow, is for her she still has to do the iddat. Meaning that if here, where the ruling here is mentioned with regards to divorce, however, if husband and wife have married, no meeting has taken place at all, neither in seclusion or when the marriage has not been consummated, and the husband passes away, he dies, he passes away, in that condition the wife still has to do the iddat. Here the iddat, that's where it is mentioned that she doesn't need to do the iddat. This is only under the circumstances of ثُمَّ طَلَّقْتُمُوهُنَّ, in the case of talaq. Where it's not talaq, and if the husband passes away, there the ruling is fixed and set, irrelevant of being met or not met, or being together or not. There she just still has to do the iddat of Arba'at Ashhurin wa Ashra, of 4 months and 10 days. That is fixed. There is no way out of that at all. So there is a difference between the iddat of a widow and the iddat of one who has been divorced. The purpose of the iddat is, what is this waiting period for, and especially the 3 haids. This is so that when a woman is divorced now, for instance in these circumstances here, where the husband and wife have not met at all, here when she is divorced, she can immediately marry somebody else. There is no waiting for her at all. But where the husband and wife have met, now there needs to be a period of time to define whether the woman is expecting or not. So now, for instance, the husband and wife were together, they met, and just before the divorce has taken place, they met with one another as husband and wife, and due to which the wife is conceived, and the husband divorces her. And the husband divorces her, she's not going to know overnight that she's now carrying a child. She's conceived. So if he divorces her, the next day or a week after or 2 weeks later, she marries somebody else, and that marriage is now consummated. And after that, she gets to know that she is expecting a child. You will not know whose child it is. You will not know whose child it is. So for this reason, the iddat here is important, and it is to do istibrar, meaning that the 3 hays, the 3 cycles is sufficient to gather the fact that, look, this woman is not expecting a child from the previous husband. So you know that the womb is clear of a child. So now after that, if she marries, and that marriage is now consummated, and she is now carrying child, she conceives from it, you know who the child belongs to, you know that the child is from the second husband. That is how important it is. But at the same time, it is also the injunction of the Qur'an as well. The injunction and the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when that is the case, even if there is a period of time wherein the 3 hazes have already passed, that they have not been together, and then divorce takes place, It doesn't mean now that they do not do the iddat, she still needs to do the iddat, the waiting period, because it is the injunction of the Qur'an. Here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that in these circumstances, wherein no consummation, the marriage has not been consummated, and at the same time there's been no khalwat sahiha, there will be no iddat upon her at all. But Allah Ta'ala says, فَمَتِّعُوهُنَّ وَسَرِّهُوهُنَّ صَرَحًا جَمِيلًا. Grant them a provision, which means either a gift, which would be half of the dowry, if the dowry has already been specified, and husband and wife have consummated the nikah, and then talaq takes place, she is worthy of all. She needs to be given the full mahar that is owed to her. If in these circumstances wherein mahar was fixed, but then they did not consummate the nikah, so the husband has not benefited from her, in that circumstances she is not entitled to the entire mahar dowry, but because a dowry was fixed, she is entitled to half the dowry. That is wajib. And the other is, Allah Ta'ala says, فَمَتِّعُوهُنَّ. فَمَتِّعُوهُنَّ means that give her something to benefit from, meaning a provision. And this will either be that which is something which is preferable, or that which is wajib, depending on the circumstances, as I mentioned. If mahar is wajib, then here فَمَتِّعُوهُنَّ refers towards the mahar which is wajib. And remember, in nikah, although mahar is not a condition for the validity of nikah, but the mahar is something which is the right of the woman. The mahar is not the rights of the father, the bride's father, neither that of the family of the bride. It is something which belongs, it is the right of the bride. And that is something that needs to be given to her. So if that is fixed, or if talaq takes place at a time wherein maybe time has passed, but the meher has not been given, فَمَتِّعُوهُنَّ will refer towards that outstanding meher that still needs to be given. The other muta that Allah mentions here in فَمَتِّعُوهُنَّ means a gift, which means that whenever a divorce takes place, the Qur'an has says فَمَتِّعُوهُنَّ, that the husband under all circumstances should give a gift to the wife when talaq takes place. And the gift is that she should be given a set of clothing. And set of clothing will be according to what the custom is. Custom meaning that what a woman would normally wear when she leaves the home, which would include the kurta, a kameez, trousers, dupatta, and a jilbab to cover herself. This is what we will see, a full set of clothes. This one such set is what the husband should give to the wife when he divorces her. It isn't something which is farz or wajib, unless it is a dowry, but it is something that has been greatly encouraged that this should be given. If the husband and wife are both rich, then it will be given, the set will be of a good value. If both are poor, then it will be of a value which is of somebody who is poor. And if either one of the two one is poor and the other is rich, then it will be something which is in between, meaning something which is of moderate value. So that is not that the person then goes and he has the means and he just goes and gets something cheap line because he wants, for the sake of it, he doesn't really want to, so he just gets something that is cheap. It will depend on the financial position of the husband and the wife. Now here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says a very important part here that Allah Ta'ala mentions, something that we should pay heed to. And this is something which is part of the beauty of deed and the beauty of Islam. That when divorce takes place, divorce in majority circumstances, and the majority of circumstances, isn't going to be a nice and a comfortable affair, that people are very happy at that time in giving divorce. There is naturally going to be animosity at that time, there's going to be hatred at that time, there's going to be differences at that time. And because of these differences, this is why divorce has actually taken place. But even on such occasions, Allah Ta'ala says that, look, one should not harbor such enmity with the ex-husband and wife and the family and that. So Allah Ta'ala says, وَصَرِّحُوهُنَّ صَرَاحًا جَمِيلًا, and part from them in a most beautiful manner, meaning without causing them any hurt. So part with one another without causing any hurt. They part from them in a most beautiful manner. This is only the beauty of Islam. In Islam you'll find this. Otherwise it goes to court and becomes very nasty and it becomes very dirty as well. But Allah Ta'ala is saying here, after all, the husband and wife have lived together as husband and wife. Now things have not worked out, for whatever reason it may be. And now when the time of separation comes, although husband and wife or families may not be on speaking terms or they may not be liking one another, but Deen and Sharia says that even under those circumstances, part in a good manner. Because if this parting is going to take place in a good manner, other matters after divorce will also be able to be solved in a very easier manner. Otherwise, all the other matters also become very messy and they become very difficult as well. So this is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that, look, when it comes to separation as well, وَسَرِّهُهُنَّ صَرَاحًا جَمِيلًا, to that extent that when it comes to the iddat as well in divorce, there too the ruling is that the husband should not kick his wife out. His divorce says, get out of my house and kick her out. But even at that time when he divorces the wife, during the iddat period, it is her right that he should keep her in that house. Where is she going to go immediately? So he keeps her for that period of time in his house. So she has a roof. And also he will still maintain her during the iddat period. This is for when talaq takes place. Where in the iddat of a widow, there's a different matter. There won't be any maintenance for her because now there is the inheritance. So she will benefit from the inheritance. So there is no maintenance of her because the husband is not alive now to maintain her. But in divorce, while she is in the iddat period, the husband will maintain her and he will not kick her out at all. But she'll be allowed to remain in that marital home throughout her iddat. The husband as well, he can remain there as well. As long as it is just the one or two divorce in the way, that they will be separated from one another, but being in the same home, there is that possibility that the husband may do rudu, he may take her back as well. But otherwise, if he doesn't during that period of time, and if it is a case of all three divorces, then even then, the hijab has to remain. But she'll not be kicked out of the house immediately from that moment. So even that is taken into consideration while she is in her iddat. Iddat means a waiting period wherein she will not adorn herself, and neither will she leave the house unless it is an absolute need or necessity, and she will remain within the home. Unfortunately, this is also something that is being greatly neglected. And why is being greatly neglected is because since women are now not in the house, they are out and they are working, and because they are working and then the matter of the divorce takes place, it's a case of taking off from work. And there are many who don't want to do so. And despite them being divorced, they carry on as normal and they're going out as normal. This is directly flaunting the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is very dangerous. It is very dangerous. Leave should be taken from work. The only time is wherein a person is ill, they need to go to the doctor, medical reasons. Or if the wife is the only breadwinner, she has to work. Otherwise, who's going to look up? The husband is not going to. Or if she becomes a widow, then and there's no other means for her at all, then only will it be allowed for her to be able to work and come back to the house and remain within the house. Out of necessity, there's nobody else to look for her, look after her, or do anything else for her. Otherwise, it is incumbent upon her to observe the iddat. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions that فَمَتِّعُهُنَّ وَسَرِّحُهُنَّ صَرَاحًا جَمِيلًا, that part from them in the most beautiful manner. And that's why the فَمَتِّعُهُنَّ, the gift is also there for that reason. That when husband and wife were together, or when the nikah took place, at that time they were exchanging of gifts. People were happy and they exchanged gifts. So now when you depart from one another and you separate from one another, there to give a gift, just so that at least matters after are comfortable. So at least in this way, there is no causing of hurt and harm to one another. As it is, divorce talaq itself is something which is allowed and permissible, but it is something which is so greatly disliked by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Deen and Shariat has allowed divorce as well where it's needed, but it is something that is greatly disliked as well. And Allah Ta'ala mentioned, and this is one ruling here, فَمَتِعُهُنَّ وَصَرِّهُهُنَّ صَرَحًا جَمِيلًا, that we have forgotten. Especially, although here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is actually addressing the boy's side here. It is the boy, meaning the man, the husband, that he will give a gift to the wife because he is the one who has given her the divorce. So he should part from her in such a manner. But this advice needs to be given to the girl side nowadays, because when divorce takes place, it is the girl side who majority of the time are the ones who become nasty, and majority of the time are the ones who then take or want to take revenge, and they are the ones who want to hurt the husband. One must remember that look here where Allah Ta'ala says فَمَتِعُهُنَّ وَصَرِّهُنَّ صَرَحًا جَمِيلًا. Allah Ta'ala is saying this despite the fact that, as I mentioned to you, when divorce takes place, there is going to be some hurt that is there, issues that were there that led towards the divorce. Not that everything has been so well and happily, okay, let's decide, let's just divorce one another and live ever happily ever after. That isn't the case, that doesn't happen. Hence Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is specific mentioning that look, despite all of that, separate in a good manner. But we unfortunately are going totally against this. Which means that even if it was the case that in the nikah, the woman, she was innocent. The husband was the one at fault. And he has divorced the wife. It still doesn't mean that the wife has rights to now take revenge from the husband. And this is what we have in our divorces, especially here in this country, because there is those means available for the wife to adopt, and because of that she will make sure that she takes the husband to the dry cleaners. She takes him to the dry cleaners. And just because of this, because of her dislike or that revenge of why he divorced her, is a case of everything. Taking possession of the house, taking possession of half of his earnings, and not only that, but also then taking over full custody of the children, making all sorts of lies and accusations against the husband in order to deny him access to the children, in order to deny him custody, and in order to deny him access to the children. All of these things are impermissible. These are impermissible. Shariat has clearly outlined with regards to whose responsibility it is at what stage to look after the children. And under the age of bulugh, they will remain with the mother. Beyond that, then they will come to the father, or they have a choice as well after that who they want to remain with. But during that time, they will be with the mother, and then thereafter it is the duty of the father. If both do decide in such a manner as to a form of custody, as to who will look after them amicably, this is something which is also allowed in Islam. But where the mother or the wife deliberately, just out of dislike for the husband, her ex-husband, just to get revenge on him, to get one back on him, deprives him of seeing the children, does not allow him any access to the children, and wants him that, look, if you want to see the children, then you need to go to the court and get a verdict from the court. Until then, you can't see the children. To deprive the father of seeing the children, this is totally haram and impermissible. It is not allowed at all. This is something which is not allowed at all. The husband has full rights, the father has full rights to the children. He can visit them and he can see them whenever he wants to. Whenever he wants to. But this may not be something which is compatible or something which is so doable as well, and it may not always be convenient. So for the husband and wife to now come up with some arrangement which is suitable and acceptable to both parties, this is what فَمَتِّعُوهُنَّ صَرَحًا جَمِيلًا. this will be included in this. But where this out of despite for the husband, she deliberately deprives him of access to the children, this is not allowed at all, and this is very common. And to that extent that so many marriages, when they fail, divorce takes place, automatically the husband is now saying, look, she's not allowing me to see the children. On what basis are you not allowing him to see the children? Yes, there will be circumstances when if the father is abusive to, and where there is fear on the well-being of the child, and well-being of the child, the physical well-being of the child, and that is a different matter. But majority of the time that isn't the case, it will be very rare. There will be occasions, yes, not that that does not exist, there may be. But in general, that isn't the case. So in doing so, what happens is, the wife, she goes against the Sharia in this manner. And not only that, but to prevent him as well, she needs to get a court order or she gets restrictions put upon him. And not only that, in doing so, then she makes so many things up and she has to lie to court as well in order to get all these things in her favor. So many wrongs are happening on this. And then on top of that, the fact that if she takes possession of the house, if she takes anything that does not belong to her, and she takes it in such a manner, and that is also not allowed for her. That house is not permissible, it is haram for her then. Whatever wealth is given to her, no matter which court gives that to her and says that she is entitled to it, or any maintenance for that matter after divorce, Islamically she is not entitled to it. That is not, it is impermissible for her to take that. If she takes that, then she is filling her belly with the fire of Jahannam. And these are the things that happen. An example I give, that when he suits us, we go to the Shari Council. When he suits us, we'll go to a Mufti. And when it suits us, we'll go to the courts. So when we know that, look, if we go to the courts, that won't be in our favor, let's look at the Sharia side. Especially when it comes to laws of inheritance. If the Mayyit has deliberately left out some heirs, and the heirs know in the will, he's done that in the will, so legally that person will not inherit. But they know, Islamically, no, I am a legal heir, so Islamically I have to inherit here. So it's a case of, no, we're going to take this to the Sharia, to the Qazi, we're going to take this to the Mufti, we're going to take this to an Alim Deen, and we want to get the Islamic ruling here. We want to get the Islamic ruling here. Why? Because what's written, the law is saying you're going to be deprived there. Here you will still get something. And the Mufti is going to say, no matter what the will was, that is invalid because you are here, you should inherit. So that is in our favor, so we'll go there. And then when it comes to these type of matters, with regards to maintenance beyond the iddat, then we don't want to know what Deen and Shariat says. With regards to custody of children, we don't want to know what the Shariat says. With regards to possessions, we don't want to know what the Shariat says. And the Shariat is straightforward. The Shariat is what? It's not what we will say, what is yours is mine, what is mine is mine. It's the case of what is yours and what is mine is mine. And this is the most fair and ideal matter as it is, that which is what belongs to the husband is his, what always belongs to the wife, what is the wife, whatever was given to the wife as a gift, what she earned, what belongs to her, her possessions are her possessions. Which means that when divorce takes place, she will keep possession of all those things which belong to her, which includes the mahar as well. That the mahar was given to her, that is hers. Because this is another side of it as well. Where the boys' side then demand everything back. They demand everything back. We want the mahar back. And we also want the jewelry back. I mean, we want all the gifts back as well. We want the gifts back. Now you can't give all the gifts back, well, the time when they were gifts, so now is the case we want all the envelopes back. Fine, keep all the envelopes and give them empty envelopes back. So they want all the gifts and everything that they gave back. Again, this is not allowed and permissible either, because the mahar is the right of the wife. What was given to her was given to her. To that extent that if there is, the mahar is outstanding, it is still her right that it should be given to her. If she out of her own will, whether it is divorce or whether it is in normal nikah as well, out of her own good will, she wants to reduce the mahar or she wants to forgo the mahar, that is also allowed. But the condition there is that there should be no force upon her, she should be from her own desire, pleasure. She can forgo that, otherwise it is her right to ask for that. So whatever mahar has already been given, that cannot be demanded back. Whatever gifts were given, whatever jewelry was given to her, as in given to her as a gift, is hers, you cannot ask for it back. If she gives it back herself, that's a different matter. You can take it back, but there is no compulsion upon her. But society has become such that either it is demanded back, we'll have that culture as well, wherein it is demanded back, and where that culture is not there, that people will ask for it back, but that expectancy remains there. And because that expectancy remains there, so the girl side will return those things, knowing that, look, if we don't, then they'll say this or they'll say that, and that although they're not asking for it, but they are expecting it, so then they are under the pressure of returning these things. This is also not allowed. What was given to her is hers, she will keep that in her possession. And whatever the husband has earned, the wife will not get a share in that at all. He will not get a share in that at all. This is not justice at all. Where the wife, she can by all means put her claim in, that no, I supported the husband. And because I supported him, so I should be entitled to such an amount, half of his earnings as well and his business as well, because I was the moral support and I supported him in this and that. He should put a claim in as well, that look, I put up with her for so many years as well, then I should have a claim on her earnings as well for the mental stress and torture. But you don't have that at all, because everything is just in favor of the women. And Deen and Shariat, alhamdulillah, is Deen Wasata, is one which is moderate, where the rights of the wife, of the woman, have also been taken into consideration, as well as that of the husband. So both, nobody can then complain. Not that one from the two is deprived. Whereas other rules, laws, there'll always be one from the two who are deprived. And here Allah Ta'ala is saying, فَمَتِعُهُنَّ وَسَرِّهُهُنَّ سَرَعًا جَمِيلًا, always indicating to us, look, that nobody should be caused hurt in this matter at all. And this is something that we should be aware of, because this is what is happening very common now with regards to divorce. As it is, unfortunately, divorces are on the rise. Divorce has become very easy as well. One is that the husband himself doesn't have the tolerance within him, and because he doesn't have the tolerance over small matters, he just gives divorce to his wife. And the other side as well, the wife, where in the past the wife would not even utter the word divorce, or people would be so fearful of divorce or dislike divorce so much that they wouldn't even want to entertain the thought of divorce. Wouldn't even want to entertain the thought of divorce. That the wife would be going through a lot of hardship and difficulty. And yes, as I mentioned, it is not necessary that she has to undertake extreme amount of hardship and difficulty. That's why Islam and Deen and Shariat has allowed ways when she can go to the Qasi as well. If the husband is oppressing her, and on top of that he's not willing to give a divorce, and this is causing her physical and mental torture and torment. So that is also been catered for. But in the past, the women folk were such that they were willing to tolerate. And not only that, but they regarded it to be, they feared the word, or even to entertain, or even to express a desire towards wanting to be divorced. And not only that, but circumstances were such as well. The upbringing was such. Islamically they understood the dislike of nikah. Circumstances were such as well. And if those circumstances, there are so many other parts of the world, it won't be as easy as here. Here it's so easy. Why? Because there is so much facilities and so much benefits that are available there for a single woman. She doesn't have to worry that if I am divorced, where will I go? Where will I go if I'm divorced? Who will look after me, or if the children, who will look after the children? Because all of these are catered for. That's why she's so willing to get divorced. She doesn't mind being divorced. So it's not a case of just the husband who needs to control himself in divorce, but it's the wife herself who also doesn't mind being divorced. So she's the one who keeps on demanding divorce, saying, no, just divorce me, let me go, I want to go on my own, I want to be separated and that. Why? Because it becomes so easy. If circumstances were not so easy, there weren't any housing available for you, there were not any such benefits available, then she would stay quietly in the house. She wouldn't demand divorce at all. And this is how people do when they left their mother's maternal home and the mother's home and come into the husband's house. It was a case of that's it. There's no return now. There's no return now. That is the mindset that they had, that whatever happens, this is now your new home. make things work out. Make things work out. And again, as I mentioned to you, it doesn't mean that she has to undertake all hardship and all zulm, oppression that takes place. No, by all means she shouldn't. She can escape from that and she can get away from that. Deen and Sharia has allowed, that's why divorce exists for that reason. But to understand and to get the correct balance is very, very important. That the wife should not demand divorce for petty reasons. As the Nabi Kareem mentioned, she will not get the fragrance and she will deprive her of fragrance of Jannah, which means that if you don't get the fragrance of Jannah, you're not going to be in Jannah. You're not going to Jannah and not smell Jannah, that means you won't be in Jannah. And the husband should also not out of, again, just for no reason, invalid, small matters, trivial matters. He should not direct his marriage as well by uttering divorce. And if it does come to divorce, then فَمَتِّعُهُنَّ وَصَرِّحُهُنَّ صَرَاحًا جَمِيلًا. Just the way we go to the ulama before nikah to inquire with regards to what the process of nikah is. We go to the ulama for the nikah as well. So when it comes to divorce as well, we should be doing the same as to how we should give the divorce. Not just give the entire 3 divorce and end it off there and there in one spot in one go. But ask and inquire what is the way of giving divorce. What should we be doing after divorce? What are the rights of the husband and wife now and the children after divorce? All of these things should also be asked before, should be consulted as well. And then due to which, when a marriage does break off, then at least there isn't that friction there. There isn't that hatred and enmity between the families. Between the families. And not only that, but then, as I mentioned, there is a case of children. If there is no children, it is a lot easier and simple. After the iddat, she's her way, he's his way. But then where there is children as well, then there is going to be that interaction that's going to remain with the families, with regards to the access of the children. These things need to remain amicable. And this can only be if we follow the Shari rulings of divorce. Then these things can become, otherwise it's a case of war takes place. It's a case of war takes place where anybody sees one another on the streets and that's why they're there putting their, folding the sleeves up. And one is doing this to that person or getting somebody to attack that person or attack their house. These things happen. If one side of the family are getting other thugs to do something to their house, and then in out of revenge they're getting somebody to do something against them as well, and this type of court orders and all, and restrictions, calling the police, and lying to the police as well. All of this happens. Where husbands have been put in prison as well, who've been locked up as well, out of false claims and these things. All of these things, remember, do what you want here. There is going to be the hereafter, and there is going to be the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Whatever wrong the husband does, and whatever zulm he does, whatever oppression he does, he's going to have to stand in the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah ta'ala specifically mentions, وَعَشِرُهُنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ. These women are weak and they are in your possession, they are in your nikah, in your home. Be compassionate towards them. Deal with them and treat them in a good manner. If he goes against that, he is going to be questioned on the day of Qiyamah. And the wife, she demands the divorce without any valid reason, and if she takes what does not belong to her, she takes him to the dry cleaners, she can enjoy that house here in this world and the wealth here in this world, and deny him of custody of the children here in this world. But then in hereafter, she's going to have to stand in the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And there won't be any other court but the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is something which both husband and wife have to always remember. Allah ta'ala grant us all understanding. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.